Hi everyone, how you doing? Did you have a good day yesterday? I hope you were really good. So, I hope you enjoyed your story last night. So today we've got one from Wizards and Witches. Ooh, and it's called The Wizard's Pink Coat. Pink's Nana's favourite colour. So if you're sitting nice and snuggly, then Nana will begin. Hey presto, the wizard had a wonderful cloak. Whenever he swung it round his shoulders, he disappeared at once because it was very powerful magic in it. The cloak was most useful to the wizard. He wore it whenever he wanted to be invisible, and then he was able to do all kinds of things. He could slip into other wizards' castles and watch them at their magic work without being seen. He could go into Witch Green Eye's cottage and stand unseen beside her as she stirred spells into her big black pot. And he could swing his coat around him when visitors came that he didn't want to bother about. Nobody could see him then. A most useful cloak. And hey presto, whenever he hung it up in his cupboard and locked the door, said, an invaluable cloak. I couldn't do without it. I must never, never let my enemies get it. One day when he took it out of the cupboard, Miggy, his old servant, saw it. Good gracious, master, she said. How can you wear that dirty old cloak? What colour is it meant to be? It's so dirty that I can't even tell if it's blue, red or green. It's pink, said the wizard, looking at it. At least it's supposed to be pink. It does look dirty, doesn't it? Well, I suppose I've used it for over 100 years now. No wonder it's dirty. It's smelly too, said Miggy, wrinkling her nose. Phew, needs washing, master. Fancy using a thing for over 100 years and not having it washed. And look at this hole. Dear me, yes, said the wizard, quite alarmed. It won't do to get big holes in it. Bits of me will be seen then through the holes. Whatever shall I do? I'll wash it and mend it, said Miggy firmly. It's too precious, said Hey Presto, clutching it tightly. Now listen, said Miggy. That cloak smells so dirty that very soon people will know you are near them, even though you're invisible. You let me wash it. I'll be very, very careful. All right, Miggy, but when you hang it out to dry, please put up a clothesline in the walled garden and make sure the gate is locked, said Hey Presto. If anyone saw this cloak on the line, they might steal it. Oh, master, I'll be as careful of your cloak as if it was made of gold, said old Miggy, putting it over her arm. My word, what a horrible smell. It must be 500 years old, not one. She went off and got a tub full of boiling water. In went the magic cloak, and Miggy scrubbed it up and down in the suds. Just look at the dirt coming out, said Miggy in disgust. Why, there's more dirt than cloak. I'll have to wash it 3 or 4 times before it's really clean. When she'd finished washing it, she could hardly believe her eyes. The coat was pink, the loveliest pink imaginable. Miggy shook it out and then called her master. Master, come here. Did you ever see such a lovely colour in your life? Hey Presto looked at his cloak. Why, it didn't seem the same one. It's the colour of almond blossom, she said. It's the colour of wild roses on the hedge. And yes, it's exactly the colour of the sky when the pink at sunset time. Yes, said Miggy. Shame on you for wearing it so dirty. I'm going to hang it out to dry and then I'll mend it for you. In the walled garden, mind, called the wizard anxiously. Nobody can get in there. Nobody at all. Miggy hurried into the walled garden. She had already put up a washing line there. She went to the door in the wall and locked it carefully, putting the key in her pocket. Now nobody could get into the garden from the outside and the walls were far too high to climb. She looked at the clouds racing across the sky. Nice windy day. The cloak will be dry quickly, she thought. I'll press it tonight and mend it, and I'll see that my master doesn't get it so dirty again. It shan't go for more than 20 years this time before it's washed again. She pegged the cloak carefully on the line and watched it flapping in the wind. It would soon be dry. I'll fetch it at about 3 o'clock, she thought, and then trotted indoors. She kept an eye on it through the kitchen window and was pleased to see it was drying nicely. At 3 o'clock, she went into the garden to unpeg the cloak. But it wasn't there. The line was empty, and 3 or 4 clothes pegs lay scattered on the ground. Miggy gave a scream and brought Hey Presto out at once. "Master, master, your cloak's been stolen!" Hey Presto came at top speed. He saw the empty washing line and scattered pegs and groaned. He ran to the garden door that led out into the lane, but it was locked. No one could have got in that way. "I kept that cloak under my eye the whole time," sobbed Miggy. "I looked out at the kitchen window almost every minute. Nobody could have got in without me seeing. Nobody. They couldn't get out without being seen either." "Oh, yes, they could," said Hey Presto grimly. "All the thief had to do was to swing the cloak around his shoulders, and he and the cloak would be invisible at once. He could go wherever he liked then, even creep in past you through the kitchen, out through the hall, and walk out of the front door. Nobody would see him. What am I to do? My wonderful cloak. I must get it back." "The thief won't always be wearing it, sir, and it's such a bright glowing pink that it would be very easy to recognise," said poor Miggy, very upset indeed. "Can't you offer a reward, master, to anyone, even an animal or a bird who finds it or brings news of it?" Yes, I'll certainly do that," said Hey Presto. Immediately he sent out hundreds of little pixie heralds, complete with trumpets, to announce his loss and the reward for finding the cloak. Everyone was excited. The country was searched from top to bottom, but no news came in. Nobody had ever seen the cloak. Hardly anyone even knew of it. So how could it have been stolen? Rabbits searched burrows. Fish in the rivers hunted here and there. Owls looked in hollow trees. Swallows looked in barns. It was no good. Nobody saw anything pink that was big enough to be the cloak. And then one day a chaffinch flew down to Miggy in great excitement. "Pink!" he called loudly. "Pink, pink!" "What do you mean? Have you found the pink cloak?" cried Miggy. "Where is it?" "Pink, pink, pink!" shouted the little chaffinch, fluffing out his pretty chest. "Pink!" "I'll come with you," said Miggy, putting on her bonnet. "Lead the way, chaffinch. I'm sure you think you've found the cloak." "Chip, chip, 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 cherry, 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 chip, chip, here we are," sang the chaffinch, flying up a tall tree just outside the walled garden. And there, caught in a high branch, and wrapped around and around it, was the magic cloak, as pink as ever, but a little dirty. "Yes, you're right, it's the cloak," cried Miggy. "You clever bird, you very clever bird. Wait here till I get a ladder, and don't you dare tell anyone else." She fetched a long ladder, and up she went. She unwrapped the cloak from the branch and slipped it around her so that she might use both her hands to climb down the ladder again. At once, to the chaffinch's astonishment, she vanished, and the cloak vanished too. "Pink!" he called anxiously. Miggy's voice answered him from the ladder. "It's all right, I'm still here. Climbing down the ladder, wearing the cloak, is the easiest way for me to carry it." She ran to the wizard, taking off the cloak just as she got to him. "Master, it's found! Here it is!" "Where was it?" asked Hey Presto, startled and delighted. "Caught up in a tree not far from the walled garden," said Miggy. "Nobody stole it. A strong wind must have blown it off the line, straight up the tree, and wrapped it around a branch. And there it's been, ever since." "But who found it?" asked Hey Presto, looking to see if the cloak was damaged. "The chaffinch who nests in that tree," said Miggy. "He came and told me. He was so excited he could only say pink, pink, but I guess that's what he meant, of course." "Then he must have a reward," said Hey Presto. "Call him here, the clever bird." The chaffinch came. He flew in at the window, calling, "Pink, pink!" "There, he can't say anything but that at the moment," said Miggy. "He's been shouting out the news to everyone. He's so proud of himself." "Chaffinch, you have earned a reward," said Hey Presto, and the little bird flew onto his shoulder. "You may have a sack of gold, a box of spells, or anything else you can think of." The chaffinch whispered a little song into the wizard's ear, and Hey Presto laughed. "What does he want for a reward?" asked Miggy. "Nothing, he says. Money's no use to him, and he's frightened of spells. And as he has a nest of his own, with a dear little wife and 4 beautiful nestlings, he's got everything he could possibly want," said the wizard. "He just wants to know if he can go on telling everyone he found the pink coat. He's so very, very proud of that." "Well, let him," said Miggy. "It's a reward that won't cost a penny, and he'll be glad that he had all his family can boast about finding your magic cloak. People love boasting, even birds do." "You're right," said Hey Presto, and he turned to the excited little chaffinch. He spoke very solemnly. As your reward for finding my pink cloak, you may tell everyone in the world, he said. You may shout the news at the top of your voice year after year. And believe it or not, from that day to this, every chaffinch shouts out the news each spring and summer. You must listen. You really must. Pink, she calls loudly. Pink, pink, pink. Listen for him, will you, and call out, clever bird. Who found the magic cloak? What colour was it? And he will put his knowing little head to one side and answer you at once. Pink, pink, pink. Ah, you'll have to listen. And if you hear a chaffinch, you'll have to tell me, won't you, if it says pink? I wonder if it does. How exciting. Nana's going to listen too. So that was called The Wizard's Pink Cloak. So I enjoyed that. I hope you did too. So I hope you sleep well, and I love you loads and loads, and I will see you again tomorrow. So, night night Torby Tumble, night night Atty, night night Ruby, night night Max. I love you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye everyone.